It's easy to say that this was one of the most anticipated movies, summer blockbusters, if you will, in a long time. And I mean in a long time because this fucking thing's been done for ages.
Yeah.
And they finally released it. So that was a telling sign. Everybody seems to be blowing it, but I'm going to spoil you right here. We kind of hated Godzilla vs. Kong. I'm speaking for you. I already know you hated it.
Rarely, like you always make this joke of me falling asleep during movies.
Yeah.
Recently, it's only happened with one other movie where I actually fell asleep. I was on the edge of falling asleep through the first half of this movie.
Yeah.
And not because I was tired, because it was so incredibly uninteresting.
Yeah, it's horribly uninteresting. But that's just one of the many problems with Godzilla vs. Kong, a movie which, as I said, a lot of people are digging. And that's cool. If you like this movie, I am glad. Because I wanted to desperately like this movie.
You're an Ape fan.
I'm an Ape fan. One, I like the MonsterVerse and what they've done up to the last movie. But this, wow, what a fucking letdown, man. Now some people might say, "Oh, your anticipation killed it for you." Nope, that's certainly not it. I've been much more excited for much crappier movies, and I had more acceptance of those crappy movies than this gigantic ape turd of a flick. We'll talk about it. And
You saw it twice, guy.
I saw it twice, yesterday and today, because I'm always one to give something another shot. You never know if you're watching it under the wrong conditions or whatever, or whatever factors may come. And man, let me tell you, it was worse the second time. It was colossally worse. I have no words for how fucking awful it was, and yet I will speak. So there's many problems with this movie. Tons of problems. But look, first of all, well, give me your impression off the bat. Did I overshoot here and say you hated it?
It feels like I saw nothing.
Yeah.
Like there is no importance to anything that's happening. And thus the shit with the humans feels so long. It's not that it's like a lot, it is, but it's that you don't care about anything that's happening.
Yeah.
That makes you just go, hurry up. Like there's a scene in the Hollow Earth with Kong where it's like showing the majesty of this place or whatever, and he sits. And in any other movie, if it had built that right, that would have been like, yeah, that's pretty cool. You earned that long, prolonged period. And this, I literally went, just hurry up.
Yeah. And that's how I felt throughout the whole movie, man. It was long. It was boring. And yes, I agree 100%. It feels like you're watching nothing of relevance. A lot of people bemoan the amount of human stuff in the other movies. And to some degree, I get it. The fandom of Godzilla was raised on just these monsters fighting. So I get kind of their point of view. But they were also raised on super shitty human interactions.
Terrible, yeah.
The worst, way worse than some of the MonsterVerse stuff was showing. The thing is that, especially in the first Godzilla and Kong Skull Island, the humans, whether you liked them or not, whether you understood why they were there or not, whether you wanted to see them or not, they textured the world and gave you scope, gave you a feeling for what was going on, painted the world that these creatures lived in. Here, they're just here to service this thing getting to the point of these two things fighting.
And they take so long to do it.
And that's all they do. And because of that, you don't give a shit about the world they live in. You don't give a flying fuck about anything other than these two creatures fighting. And some might say that's what we wanted. And I guess those are the people that enjoy it. But that just made it soulless.
Super boring.
A lot of people bat around the idea of a soulless effects movie, and sometimes I've disagreed with that. I do not. Nobody's really calling this one that, as far as I know, but I'm gonna call it that. It's a soulless effects movie with nothing of interest for me. Nothing. It's not. The fights were not satisfactory. The human shit was definitely not satisfactory. So there's that. Also, this movie, I think my biggest fucking issue with this movie is how much it asks of the viewer to accept. We're already dealing with a universe where gigantic god lizards exist.
You had prepped me for shit that was to come.
Yeah.
And I was still like, what is this?
Yeah, yeah. Usually I'll tell you how awful or how good a movie is, and it'll ruin the movie. No, well, I won't ruin it. I'll tell you how. Let's use a good example. I'll tell you how good a movie is, and because I enjoyed it so much, you'll enjoy it less. Conversely, I can tell you how bad a movie is, and you'll be like, "It's not that bad, guy." This one, I told you how bad it was, and I drilled into it.
I do think that there's things that you hated, but for the most part, I totally agree with you. It's turds.
The overall effect is the same.
Yes, it doesn't matter.
It's a piece of shit movie that doesn't fucking matter and sucks.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, that's what this is. But anyway, this movie asks so much of you, And look, this is a series that's with god lizards and the idea of this fringe science existence and shit like that. But it was in the previous movies peppered in slowly. Used to create a fabric of reality for these beings to exist in. Here they go, hey, look, all those ideas we kind of touched upon and more, we're going to launch them at you willy-nilly, at 24,000 miles per hour, and you're going to accept them, and they're going to be good. And so that includes everything from free energy to telepathy to the hollow fucking earth, stupidity that ensues, globe spanning tunnels of super speed, genetic memory links that control robots,
like portals, I think, at one point.
The idea that Kong's ancestors could build things, I guess, psychic links, Godzilla blowing a hole to the core of the earth.
Somehow. If you could do that shit in part 2, that movie would have been like 30 minutes long.
Yeah, dude. There's just so much that this movie lobs at you that it goes, accept it because it's cool looking or whatever. And I just couldn't. It was so much garbage. It was not presented in any way that was palatable, presentable, or remotely feasible, even for someone that's willing to go on a flight of fancy like I was. It's just like, oh, god damn, you're asking this of me? Really? This sucks.
It reads like a little kid going, and then the monkey gets the axe, and then the axe glows.
Yeah, really.
And then the robot comes in.
I described this in a written review as the result of, this is as if Alex Jones and David Icke wrote a novel together as kids. Alex Jones, conspiracy theories loon, David Icke, a reptile people guy. They got together as kids and wrote something. This is exactly what this fucking turd feels like, and it's just a nonstop barrage of stupidity. It was a thing, guy. It was a thing we saw. So there's a lot of questions this movie raises, and it moves at such a clip that some people will probably not even bother. And they'll say, even if they do bother, they'll be like, why are you thinking so much about this? Because there's a point where you just reach so much dumbness that you begin to you can't avoid butt questioning. And that's what this movie took me to almost immediately and off the bat. I will say that there are two things in this movie that I do like. The idea of this little girl having a bond with King Kong because she is the last survivor of her kind, the people that dwelt on Skull Island, and he is the last survivor of his kind. That's cool. They don't explore it enough, and as a result, it just feels like something that's there that could have been great but is not. And the other thing is the music. It's pretty rad.
Yeah.
It's too good for this movie. And really, it feels like it's trying to save the movie from being an absolute slog.
I think there's especially some pretty good synthy tracks in there that just don't fit in the movie, but they're actually pretty cool.
Yeah. The music I really enjoyed, and I can't say I enjoyed it the first time because I wasn't listening to it because I was just mind boggled, flabbergasted even at what I was watching. But this time I was like, might as well try to enjoy something in the movie. And that really stuck out as pretty great. Give me something good or bad you like about this movie, man. Or hate about this movie, or whatever the fuck.
There's a lot of hate, but there's one thing that I noticed right off the bat. It seems like they spent maybe all the money on Kong, because Godzilla's face effect is pretty bad.
Yeah.
There's one scene where it looks fine, but there's a lot of weird close-ups of monsters doing faces that seem unnecessary.
Yeah.
And especially when they do it with Godzilla, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
Who modeled that?
I'm gonna go a step further and say the effects in this are ugly. They're fucking ugly, man. They don't look cool. They don't look nice. Godzilla, King Kong's the coolest looking thing in this, I guess. I mean, it's an impressive effect, but they just don't look good. They don't look real ever. And the fact that they're inundated in a world full of effects kind of makes it all the worse for me. And I've seen movies like that, where it's effects upon effects on effects. It's just, I don't know, it just didn't look as good. There was a style to, say, Kong Skull Island. There was a stylization that gave it its own flavor. There was definitely a style to Godzilla. There was definitely a style to King of Monsters. But this one just feels like crappy looking. There's no other way to say it. It's just crappy looking.
It's super inconsistent because, like, sometimes you can notice the quality in the models. Like that's really well modeled.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks crappy in the world.
Yeah.
Like, especially Kong, when they're in the Hollow Earth, he just looks shitty. Like, he doesn't look like the world doesn't look up to the quality of of his model. So, like, everything's flat and kind of hideous. And you're like, what is this? And, of course, he looks tiny because they make him look really small in this movie.
Yeah, that's another thing this movie has. That's a good point you brought that up, because this movie managed to make these creatures look small a lot of the times. And then sometimes they look incongruously large compared to the way they looked in other locations.
Yeah.
And it's just by sheer default of what they make them stand next to. First of all, they have Kong interacting with a girl that should be like a fucking atom to him.
Yeah.
And yet he's interacting, fucking touching fingers, E.T. style with her and shit.
There's also what seemed like a very deliberate choice to have Kong's shots be like from here up.
Right.
Which makes them look tiny, and Godzilla's being more lower. So it just doesn't fit. They don't fit together. They don't feel like they're in the same world because of that. That could have been an interesting choice, but it's just shitty, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Kong looked gigantic in Skull Island. He's supposed to be bigger here, and he just looks way smaller.
Small guy.
They put him next to enormous things, like the entrance to the Hollow Earth. He looks fucking tiny in comparison. And once he's in the Hollow Earth, there's other creatures that are as big or even if they're smaller, he still looks small because he's in a massive edifice that apparently his people created or some shit. There's some really weird choices with that. There's to the note, by the way, of the emoting faces. I know the director was really proud of sticking it to Toho, basically. Yeah. That he got Godzilla to emote. I don't give a shit if he emotes or not. It just looked like shit.
The model was bad.
It would look like garbage. It didn't add anything. I guess if somebody wants to particularly stick it to Kong, they might be happy about that. But it just kind of made Godzilla suck.
Yeah.
It looked sucky anyway.
Yeah, there's a couple...
I got somebody telling me, you're mad because your boy lost. I don't give a shit. Both of these creatures, I've been a fan of their movies. I don't give a shit who won or not.
The movie sucks balls.
The movie sucks. That's the main issue. Speaking of suck, another fucking issue I have with this movie is the characters. We already mentioned how thin and uninteresting they are, but holy shit, I found them horribly annoying.
So I gotta say, you prepared me for these characters, and you were saying that fat dude was like mad annoying, the worst thing ever. I don't disagree. He does suck.
Yeah. But
the black dude is the worst. I wanted to kill him.
We'll talk about that because I agree. It's just I happen to think the fat dude was mad annoying because nothing is worse than a fucking loser, and that's what they focus on. That's his character trait. Yeah. I'm a wimpy loser.
And he does nothing.
He does nothing other than I'm a wimpy loser and that's my gag. I hate that. And I like that kid in Deadpool too. I thought he was pretty cool in that. He played a good foil to Deadpool. Here it's just like, oh my god, man, this guy is grating as hell. But yes, to your point, the black guy, which is supposed to be funny,
I guess,
is terrible. He's like this conspiracy theorist guy, which is very fitting for this fucking movie. And it's horribly unfunny. It's rancid humor.
Yeah.
And that's coming from us, a channel based around farts. You know what I'm saying? This fucking humor is non-humor.
I was hoping for farts.
I would have killed for a fart at that point, yeah. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And that's bad. So yeah, annoying characters,
and
man.
he also has more to do than the fat kid, which is I think ultimately we always just kind of ignored the fat kid. He doesn't do shit until the end. But the black dude is like a character you can't ignore. He's there.
And they all get together with Millie Bobby Brown's character, which is a carryover from I guess part 2 of the Godzilla films, but part 3 of the MonsterVerse,
which is a person.
King of Monsters. And she is a character that exists in this movie. And honestly, because of who she's associating with, and because she's become one of these crackpots, quote unquote, she's annoying. I kind of disliked her in this. She was fine in King of Monsters. I was like,
I couldn't even dislike. She's like a non-entity.
Really. And that's the big problem with these 3 characters that are kind of carrying a subplot, I guess, if you want to call it that, is that they serve no purpose other than to show the audience this is why this is happening. Yeah. Now, that's the use of some characters sometimes. But so blatantly obvious.
All the characters in this, all the human characters are that.
Yes.
And there's nothing interesting to them. Like I actually found the characters in the first one pretty interesting, and I like how they were used as this kind of into the human, experience. And here they just suck. They're useless. Yeah. They're not even offensively bad. They're just there.
What the worst part is that, and if you haven't seen it, there's some spoilers here. Really, this is a conversation more than anything about this fucking quote-unquote movie. They're used to reveal the villain's plot and why Godzilla is going insane. I don't know about you guys. Well, I did kind of speak to you about the movie. But the moment I started watching this movie, the moment Godzilla attacks the facility, I was like, they have Mechagodzilla there. He's threatened. That's it. I knew. You know? And that's exactly what it was. And the more the movie goes on, the more obvious that becomes. So by the time they reveal it, I was like, that was it? I was hoping for something else because that's so obvious.
And then the scene where they reveal Mechagodzilla, you're just like, why is this even happening? Yes. There's no reason for this exercise to be happening.
We'll get to that. Yes, I agree with that, man. Holy shit. We'll get to that. Okay, look, these are some questions I had about the bond between the little girl. We're going to try to go in order of the movie. Between the bond of the little girl and fucking Kong. It's implied, or it's said, basically, that the little girl's caretaker has been trying to teach Kong sign language or a manner of communication for years, and he just doesn't seem to take it. But then they find out soon enough that the little girl can communicate with him. But there's moments where she's like clearly communicating. At least it's the way it comes off in the movie in another way, right? Yeah. And yet they insist on the sign language, and it's all very convenient. So here, do they throw us is there telepathically? It's never really clarified. It's implied, I guess, but nothing is ever concretely said.
It also doesn't make sense because he has constant surveillance in this movie.
Yes.
So how wouldn't they not see this shit?
Yes, that's where I was headed to.
There's literally cameras everywhere. He's in a dome.
How did he... Yes, it's so small, too, this enclosure he's in. How did they not notice a fucking gazillion fucking foot high...
Going like this and shit.
Yeah, doing sign language. Until this little girl happened to have this one scene with him. Yes, exactly where I was going. So it's just so, like, idiotic. By the way, people are like, yeah, man, they finally gave us what we wanted. 40 minutes. 40 fucking minutes before you get one fucking fight in this movie. Now, I'm not one, we've said it in conversations in our review channel before, and here too, and it's that, we liked story. Yeah. It's just that the story here sucked. Sitting to 40 minutes of shit
nothing,
story.
Nothing, dude. I literally...
abysmal.
After the first fight, I had to go get something to eat because that shit was so incredibly boring.
Yeah. That fight, 40
Not
minutes
the fight, the movie.
Yeah. 40 minutes in, you get your first fight between Godzilla and Kong.
Whatever.
And it's highly unimpressive, in my opinion. Yeah. Also, it's another scene where they look small because they're fighting on an aircraft carrier. Also, apparently Kong can breathe water. He stayed underwater unfathomably long moments of time.
It's okay, dude, because he choked a little.
Yeah, I guess. He choked a little and spat out water at the end. So I guess it passes. It's just, holy shit, he was underwater for so long.
I think it might have just felt like an eternity.
That too. I'm sorry, but whatever. Just, whatever. It was an unimpressive fight, in my opinion. I don't know, man. Okay, but the whole thing is we've learned throughout the other movies, and here they really push it on us, that these creatures detect each other. And, you know, Godzilla's the prime fucking alpha male, right?
Yeah.
Or alpha leader. So they have this fight, and Godzilla's not killed. He's kind of basically like knocked out. I'm sorry. Yes, Kong's not killed. He's basically knocked out basically by Godzilla. And yet Godzilla cannot detect that he's still alive.
Look, I think this is what it was trying to do. It just doesn't come off that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he was trying to he's trying to
fire a warning shot.
Yeah, and filter out the other signal that he's picked up because he attacked the base earlier, because he detected what's his face's signature, Ghidorah's. So I think that's kind of what it was, but it doesn't come off that way because there's literally a scene where they're like, "Oh, shut everything off," and they shut everything off, and then Godzilla's like, "All right, I'll go then."
Yes, exactly. Shut everything off, we humans. Kong is there, breathing mega loudly, clearly still alive. They have this weird, I guess, instinctual connection where they can detect each other. Godzilla is scanning the landscape, and then he's like, he's dead.
I think that's what it was supposed to be, because there's also a scene later on where he defeats Kong and he leaves because he still feels that other signature. It just doesn't come off that way at all.
Also, that itself raises a question. Why would he leave? Who cares if there's another one? This guy's a threat to you too. Kill him first. It just doesn't make sense. You know, but whatever. Either way, it just sucked. The presentation of it sucked.
Yeah, I agree. The presentation is ass weeds.
So there's that motherfucking problem right there. There's a point in the fight where they choose to distract Godzilla by firing depth charges. And they're embroiled in battle together.
Underwater.
For the umpteenth millionth time, where Kong apparently can breathe underwater. And I'm like, as they fire the fucking depth charges, I'm like, that would hurt Kong too. What the fuck? But no, he comes out like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That lizard got distracted, boy. I'm super cool now. Like, what the fuck? They were in the same exact spot. Clearly, Godzilla is harder to pierce than fucking Kong. Anyway, it's just the type of movie where you're just so bored that you begin to question everything.
Yeah, I agree.
Man, anyway. Let me see what else I got here, man. Oh, my God. Okay. So we have the point where they're taking Godzilla, by the way. They're taking him to...
Kong, you mean?
I'm sorry, yeah, Kong, to the stupid Hollow Earth entrance.
Yes.
Which is in Antarctica, and there's a whole backstory about that that's super uninteresting. About the characters that are taking him there. The point is, they're going to go to the stupid Hollow Earth entrance, and he's supposed to lead them via some sort of, instinct to his homeland, right? He doesn't even want to go in the fucking hole.
Yes.
He's like, what is this?
They lie to him, and he gets in there.
Yeah, okay, so he takes him in there, and this is an entrance to the Hollow Earth, which presumably led to these creatures coming to the Earth. Entrances like this all over the world. They show a scan of the Earth earlier, which shows that the entrances are pretty much the same.
And they also say, by the way, you were right when you were talking to me about this. They also say earlier that there's an entrance in Skull Island, which they don't use because I guess they already had these tunnels built over here.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah. It seemed, in the previous movies, and it's kind of implied that these creatures have crawled out.
They actually say it in this one.
In this one, yeah.
Yes.
So,
but they're like, I guess we're going to that other one because we already have these tunnels built.
It seems like an excuse to just move the character so that he could have fought Kong. Yeah. But anyway.
Godzilla?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Godzilla. So, whatever, they get this fucking Hollow Earth entrance, okay? These entrances that have been there for millennia, apparently. Entrances and exits, okay? There's I don't know why they took him to that one. I guess it was the closest one. They showed that there was a lot of them.
Because they mentioned earlier that his brother, the lame main character, I guess, his brother had gone there. And all the structures were built. So I kind of assumed that that's one that they had built and gone into already. But just go into anyone. Who cares?
Yeah, well, there was nothing built other than the building around the fucking hole.
There was scaffolding all over into the entrance.
It still sucks. It's still the fucking entrance. Which is a fucking hole, by the way, that plummets.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
Yes,
I'm just trying to give a reason.
That's what I'm getting to. Yes, there was a human structures around the hole, but once you get into the hole, it's
it's pointless.
It's a fucking free fall.
It's gonna be a hole everywhere. Just go down the damn hole.
It's a fucking free fall, guy. It's a free fall through endless space, basically, until you get to the Hollow Earth. And you go, what kind of entrance and or exit is that? Let's use it as they used it as an entrance at first. Kong plummets, and he's like, holy shit.
Why'd you do this to me?
What is this? What are the chances that fucking Kong would have just happened to land on the side of a mountain?
Yeah.
You know? But that's what he does, and that's how he survives, and nobody questions it. What the fuck, man? Let's say let's say that Kong, instead of being an ape, was a fucking ankylosaurus. That motherfucker would have been dead because he doesn't have opposable thumbs and long fucking limbs.
The homie's ankles would be no more. Like, damn, homie.
That motherfucker would have been splattered, guy.
I agree. It doesn't make sense. It's like, why the hell is this a thing? And you could say that maybe that was just one entrance, and maybe the one in Skull Island is different, which I would say, why didn't they just use the one in Skull Island then?
It's garbage, is what I'm getting at. And yeah, the drop is insane. And then we get to...
Also, there's like a portal involved.
No, it's like it's a reversal of gravity thing.
No, when they freaking boost through, they go in through like a portal that speeds them up, and then there's a reversal of gravity. Anyway, it's stupid. It doesn't matter.
That just makes it stupider.
Yeah,
guy.
Visually retarded.
Anyway, the point is they plummet 1 grillion miles to the center of the fucking Earth, where it's populated by beasts aplenty, and apparently this is the homeland of Kong's people. It's visually implied that they've dominated this place, or they did at one point. And of course, they reinforce the ideas of there being an ancient blood feud between them and Godzilla, which, that was seen in the other things in cave paintings and stuff. But that comes off much cooler when it's the superstition of people.
Yeah.
Much more than it's an actual thing where these animals have a blood feud. At that point, I was like, that's stupid. It's just stupid, It sounds stupid. So, whatever. That's implied, and then we get the scene, guy. We get the scene with the fucking axe. We'd all seen the axe in the trailer. I guess it looked alright. It looked cool, whatever. Monkeys, apes have been known to build rudimentary weapons and lures and stuff like that. So it's not a far-fetched thing to say that a gigantic ape-like creature would do the same. But no, instead we get the implication that his people have tapped into some sort of ancient technology and ancient energy source, of which this fucking axe is literally a key that slots into to be energized. It's so fucking monstrously dumb.
At this
corny,
point,
like you said.
At this point, you had already seen some stupid ass shit like Kong floating and going like this to a finger rock, unearned imagery.
Yeah.
And really just the whole quest to that place is just like, really. And then he gets to that place, he does that, and you're like, life and please. What is this?
Yeah, you often throw the word corny around.
Mad corny.
And honestly, sometimes I'm like, you can't just willy-nilly throw the word corny around. This earned corny 10,000 times before it got to that cornball piece of crap scene. Literally, seriously, guy, there's a slot where this thing energizes, taps into this. Oh my god, it was atrocious, man. Eye-rollingly bad. In the meantime, we get to see when we swap back to these characters that are Millie Bobby Brown and then the annoying kid and the annoying black guy. They're spying around the facility, the people that are building some secret technology, which everybody knows is Mechagodzilla. You could not be a Godzilla fan. You knew that before going into this movie. And they show this Godzilla test, this Mechagodzilla test. The whole reason they sent these people to Hollow Earth was to find a free energy source that would be interminable. And for some reason, aka we have to show this to the audience and have the characters explain it, they're running a test and they're like, yep, still doesn't work.
Yes, they literally. There's like a 3-second sequence of Mechagodzilla ripping some fool apart, and then you're right. They cut to the thing. The guy's like, "Hey, it didn't work," and then the main dude is like, "Yup, just as expected. We really need that source of power."
Yes.
And you're just like, "This is a thing. Why did this happen?"
It's embarrassing, man. It's so heavy-handed, the movie, all the time. Like, this is what's going on, and that's like one of the big moments. Also, during this scene when you first see the reveal of Mechagodzilla, which, aside here, horrible creature design, in my opinion. I don't know what you thought about it, but when you see the reveal, there's an actual line where somebody goes,
"Oh shit!
Oh my God, that's a robot Godzilla," and then the other guy goes, "No, that's Mecha Godzilla." I'm like, oh my God, come on!
A kid would find that shit.
Yes, that's bad, man. That's worse than when Martian Manhunter called himself Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
You know?
Because at least you got a bit of a, like, oh, maybe some people did call him that. This was just like, what is that?
Yes, there was scenes after that where they showed, after that and before that, where they showed the villains referring to it as a mecha. That would have been enough.
Yes.
We know what that means. But nope, you gotta go, oh my God, that's a robot Godzilla. No, that's Mecha Godzilla. There's a similar scene to this later on, which is also frustrating as hell. But anyway, Kong keying in this fucking ancient technology axe, I guess, into this veritable Ouroboros in the earth, triggers Godzilla to go, that's right.
Literally.
I didn't kill that guy.
Yeah. Oh, maybe he is a threat.
Yes. And he literally atomic blasts
Dude.
to the center of the earth.
That was one of the ones, guy, that got me.
Yes.
I was like, how?
That.
If he could do that all along, why didn't he?
Yes. He could have destroyed anybody
it's not like
immediately with that.
It's not like he sucked up some energy and was like, oh, let me power up to do that. He just casually was like, oh, you know that thing that I could have done to defeat everyone up to this point? That I never ever did, not even when I almost died in the last movie.
Or after I just did it.
Let me just do it casually. Oh yeah, look, I'm fighting Mechagodzilla. Let me not do that super powered move that I just did like 2 seconds ago.
Yes.
Is that?
So he blasts to the center of the earth with that. And then he literally screams down the hole.
Shit! Dude, it's so dumb!
And then Kong looks up at him and screams back. And then you're like, oh, it's on. And I'm sure some people were excited, but by that point I was dead inside. This is 40 minutes after the 40 minutes it took to get to the first fight. You waited another 40 minutes. So 80 minutes into the movie, you barely have your second Godzilla versus Kong fight.
Up to this point, you feel, at least we did, like nothing had happened. I actually said that. You paused and I was like, dude, it feels like nothing's happened.
Yeah. Soulless, man. So they have a mini fight where Kong, I guess, wins, if you want to call it that.
Oh, shit!
And then somebody actually says, looks like round 2 goes to Kong. And I'm like, what is this, man? What is this movie I'm watching?
Corny.
Corny, guy. Mad fucking corny. And I know there's some Godzilla fans that are going to be like, oh yeah, you haven't seen the old Godzilla. I'm the guy that said that when people were ragging on King of Monsters. But this goes to... There's Godzilla movies that are so corny that they're unforgivable.
Yeah.
This goes to that level.
Yeah.
Only on a big budget scale.
It's the big budget version of that.
And it's unforgivably bad. But anyway, there's a scene when they're fighting. The fight continues, by the way. Mm-hmm. There's a scene where they're fighting where Godzilla scratches the shit out of King Kong's chest.
Can I interject real quick?
Go ahead.
I do think that the first, minute or two of that fight is actually kind of cool looking. Mm-hmm. But then it instantly becomes super uninteresting, almost right away. There's a part where they start fighting and the music kind of drops and they're just kind of battling. Mm-hmm. And there's even some kind of cool, camera moves. But then they just keep using those camera moves over and over and over, and it just becomes super uninteresting because you're like, oh, that one neat move you had, now you're just killed it by overusing it. Yeah, spamming that shit. You're mocapping that boy, and The first like 2 minutes, I was like, "It's actually kind of cool," and then it just completely dies again, and it's super shitty.
Yeah, it's just Effects Town, USA. He Captain Kirk's off a building, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So during this I guess third round, according to the characters now, Godzilla scratches the shit out of King Kong's chest, and implying that something as simple as a Godzilla scratch could hurt King Kong. So anyway, Godzilla wins that round, and I guess if you're gonna call a winner for this movie, it's Godzilla.
Yeah.
He very conclusively won against Kong.
He steps on his little chest and then leaves.
Yeah, basically he won. Didn't kill him, mind you, but he won.
They screamed into each other's mouths, though.
Yeah, that was corny too. Screaming into each other's mouths.
What is this, The Mummy Returns?
Shit! Anyway, he leaves him there, and I guess if you want to call a winner, that's who it is. And in all honesty, that's who it should have been in a better movie, but this movie sucks. But anyway, the point is, Kong, and they go full King Kong escapes here, is on the verge of death, and the little girl, this is where the telepathic angle is clear.
Yeah.
Because he's doing nothing
laying there dead.
other than she hears his heart dying down, sure. But, I mean, come on. The guy just got beat up, In fact, the bigger you are, the slower your heart rate gets.
Yeah.
Unless
Homie could have been like mad fine.
Unless you got mad clogged arteries like us, in that case your heart's beating like a fucking racehorse. But anyway, the point is, he's dying, and shit.
Dude, this
is the worst guy.
This sucked.
One of the characters is like, yo, his heart's not working.
One of the characters, by the way, which we've constantly referred to as one of the characters because we didn't even know his name until the end.
Yeah, it was Nathan, by the way.
Fitting.
Which contributed Nathan to this plot. By the way, played by Alexander Skarsgård, who I recently saw being awesome. So him being a total loaf in this was really shocking. But anyway, the point is...
Yeah,
They what?
They do their little plan, guy.
Yep, they do this plan where to bring Kong back, because Godzilla's getting his ass kicked by Mechagodzilla, by the way. To bring Kong back, they land a ship on his fucking chest and explode it. And this is like a ship that they say, quote, is powerful enough to power Las Vegas. And it's clearly, some sort of nuclear power or something like that. And it blows up on his chest, and it's brings Kong back. And you're like, why is there nothing on his chest? He should be literally rib cage and stringy guts at this point.
Dude, that boy blows up super hard on his heart.
Yes.
And apparently that brings him back.
So that brings him back in the nick of time to fucking go fight Mechagodzilla, who has effectively kicked Godzilla's ass, basically. And there's one moment that I found amusing, and it's when Godzilla goes for the assist, and he powers up Kong's corny ass axe. And he's like, yeah, get him, boy. And Kong kicks some fucking ass.
Yeah, that was pretty. I mean,
it was cool looking.
When he be slicing, that was pretty alright.
It was cool looking, but
it sucked.
It's in the movie that sucks nards. Yeah. So, yeah. Together they beat up Mechagodzilla, who, by the way, Mechagodzilla is, and I forgot to mention this, is controlled by a mental link. Because inside Mechagodzilla's robot head, is one of the skulls of Monster Zero, aka King Ghidorah. And the other skull is in this laboratory, this underground laboratory, and it's being kind of Pacific Rimmed into mobilizing. And then I guess at one point, it goes offline and becomes Monster Zero. I guess that's what's implied. Monster Zero's controlling it. I don't know. Then we have the stupidest occurrence, I guess, where the other heroes, the black guy, the fat kid, and Millie Bobby Brown are trying to find a way to take this offline. Yeah. This Mechagodzilla offline, and they don't know jack shit. And it's supposed to be funny, I guess. Like, I only know HTML from high school. Shut the fuck up. What are you doing then? Get the fuck off that shit. And then they spill alcohol into the circuit boards.
And for some reason, that affects...
him temporarily. But why would it... Anyway, whatever. Godzilla's still doing his thing, because that would do nothing. And, yeah, man, I guess he was Monster X. that's been seen before in a matter of speaking in other Godzilla movies, but again, that's leaning too far into the cornier aspects of that shit. So, yeah, man.
It ends with
It ends with they beat up Mechagodzilla, and everybody's rejoicing, and then Godzilla's like, "Wait a minute, that guy that I didn't kill 70 million years ago when I could have, still alive. Let me roar at him." And then Kong's like, "Hell yeah, bitch, let's get it on," or I guess let's get it on because I'm tired. And then like you're like, "Oh shit, are they gonna fight one final decisive time?"
Well, he throws his axe down.
He throws his axe down because it's gonna get for real. And why would you throw your axe down? The one thing that helped you win, much like Godzilla, just never used his mega breath again.
I think what it was going for was the little kid told him that he's not the enemy, and that's why he knocked his axe down. I was like, "Nah, homie, I don't want to fight you."
I don't know, guys, but all I know is that they just bro retreated, guy.
Yep.
They were like, "Bro, respect, guy. I'm out. See you on the flip side."
Yep.
And Godzilla just swims away.
And then it ends.
The end.
It ends with Kong in his new home, and you're like, "Well, that's a thing that they have to address now."
Yep. This was a colossally stupid movie. Heavy-handed, and yet, how can you be that heavy-handed and still leave so many questions up in the air? How can you be that heavy-handed and still be like, huh? Does that mean this or that? Some people are like, "Oh, you're just stupid." Nah, boy. I wish I was stupid so I could enjoy this fucking movie. I don't mean that as an insult to people that enjoyed it. That's not what I'm implying. I am saying that you need to fucking seriously leave some brains at the door to enjoy this fucking thing.
I don't even think I've seen a divide in the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the negatives be like, "This isn't even good for a brainless action movie," and I agree.
It's not.
You can't enjoy it in that way because there's so much of it that is just boring and uninteresting.
Yep.
For whenever there is something that could be cool, it's almost instantly ruined by double, triple dipping of the same tricks over and over. And there's so little of it that it doesn't even matter. And really, the whole movie doesn't matter. Anything that's happening, you're just like, "This is a thing! Why is it this long?"
This is the most wet fart ending to any fucking series I've seen. And it might be an ending. You know, they don't have the rights to Godzilla concretely anymore. Who knows? Who knows where this fucking thing's gonna go? But hopefully never down this route again. This was terrible. This was fucking terrible. I don't know, man. Maybe it's denial. Maybe it's people genuinely enjoy it. I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that they got to see the monsters fight for longer. That's enough for them. I don't know, but this movie sucks. For me, it sucked. And I can only give it... Yesterday, I gave it a 3 out of 10. Today, I give it a fucking 1 out of 10. It's terrible, man. Unforgivably bad. It's not even good popcorn entertainment. It's just a fucking nothing. It's a fart of a movie. What's your take, man?
As a Godzillite and a Kongite, I gotta be mad honest. I'm gonna give it a mad 0, guy. It's a movie with freaking Kong and Godzilla, and not one time was like, "This is cool."
Yeah.
How do you accomplish that, guy? You literally just have to have an ape and a lizard on the same screen, and I would have been like, "That's pretty rad."
Yep.
And yet, you drain my soul to the first time they meet, and then by the end, I'm just a dead husk of a turd.
Yeah.
Wanting to freaking die, guy.
And that's exactly how this movie...
It's so bad.
Resolves itself, man.
0.
Yeah. I can't give it a 0 because I'd have to put it on par with some of the other shit we've given a 0 to. But a 1 might as well be a 0. You know what I'm saying? 1 is no shining fuck. I'm giving it a 1 for that one cool moment. There was none.
I can't. Like, I would say that, you know, some of the stuff is impressive, but it doesn't matter. The movie sucks.
Yeah.
So it's a freaking mad 0 for me.
So,
We've seen worse movies. We've seen terrible pieces of shit that blow ass. I would rather watch some of those than this crap again.
The only thing I would not rather watch than this is
Stooge Mania. That's the only thing I would rather not watch.
Holy shit, that's suffering right there.
Yep.
But this sucks, man. It's not funny to watch the incompetence. It's not fun.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's not entertaining. It's
utterly
soulless.
You get nothing out of it other than that was a freaking thing they did, right?
Yep. So,
oh, you know what? I'll give it a 1 just because it had some decent music. I can't give it a... You're right. 0.
Music can be enjoyed separately from the movie.
That's a good point. 0. I'm back to 0.
So, anyway, that's our thoughts on Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus Kong, I'm sorry. And
beef.
That's it, man. I don't think there's going to be a rewatch that salvages this.
Nah, homie.
It's an atrocious fucking movie, man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of speechless as to what to even say after that. But anyway, there you go. Tell us what you think about it. If you enjoyed it, tell us why. We'd be interested to hear that. That's it. That's fucking it, guy. This thing is so soulless it robbed me of my soul.
Yep.
We're out.
Stinky.